Well, welcome back. I I hope that you are well. Uh, Today I'm going to be speaking to the men, and this is perhaps the first of what would be about three sessions, comparable to exactly what I did in the last three sessions when I spoke to women. In this particular instance, I'm speaking to men between age 18 and above, target group being 18 to 35. It's hard being a man in the modern West. It's hard for several reasons. I make no excuses, but it's a duty I think is worthy of the adventure, the challenge, and in many ways the opportunities. Irrespective of where you find yourself, let's assume you are between 18 years and 35 years. Those are the prime years of your life, 18 critical years. How you use that short time frame. Now, it might seem like a long time, but it tends to go by very, very quickly, especially when you get busy. How you use that time serves as a foundation to everything that you will experience, every obstacle that you will overcome or that might hinder you, every joy or success that you might share, and in many ways, every failure that will be repeated over your life. We have shoulders as men because we are supposed to carry things. We're supposed to carry the burdens of our loved ones, of our society, and of our community. Men have a special calling. We have a special function. We have a special destiny. And we have a special path. Very different to women. And it's very easy to lose sight of what it really takes and what it means to be a man in the modern West. Now, we have to go back and look at who has raised us. Unfortunately, in the West, I hate to say this, but most young men have been raised by single mothers or raised into families with no fathers and no structure, have been raised into families where perhaps there's a father, but an emasculated man, someone who was feminized by his mother, someone who was taught to be soft. Now, we raised a generation or two over the past 4 generations that, in my opinion, were taught and conditioned to be softer men. And we conditioned the women to be harder women. A lot of encouragement was provided to women, and rightly so, but it was in a disproportionate basis. There is nothing wrong in supporting the gender that is perceived to have been left out for so long, providing it doesn't become a zero-sum process. Women, especially mothers, glorifying their daughters, supported their daughters, and ridiculed their sons. Sometimes it was done by omission, and sometimes it was done by commission. Sins of the fathers, sins of the mothers, therefore have come back to roost. What we then find in today's society is a lot of men do not have a sense of what it means to be a man. They are told, grow up, be a man, but they were never provided with a role model, someone to copy. Success leaves clues. Success leaves behind footprints, but at the same time, failure often provides no footprint. So it's not impossible to see an individual walking a new path without realizing that they are walking a path to destruction. They might think as if they're forging a new way, but unfortunately, that path and that way may not be the right way. So men, in many ways, have had it hard, certainly since the 1960s. Now the question lies, now you can blame the weather, you can blame the seasons, you can blame the mother, you can blame your father, you can blame your ancestors. But at the end of the day, my position has always been never complain, never explain. Pick up your cross and up you climb to the place of skulls. And when you get there, take what has been destined for you. Along the path, try and make life easy for those you come across and those you love. But shoulder that burden yourself. And whenever there is a need for support or help, always look for the Simon that could be close by, because there will always be another man calling out for you. This is a hard and a difficult charge for young men, because most of us are being raised by single mothers, raised without fathers. So our first point of call is the feminine spirit, the feminine energy. Now, at an early age, say before 7, that is certainly not an issue. But from about 7 years and above, it becomes a critical issue, because you're not developing the structure, the vision, you're not developing the delayed gratification, the risk taking. You're not allowed the rough and tumble play that comes with manhood, so you can understand the potential within you. You're not afforded the opportunity to try things and fail. You're not even given the opportunity to express yourself. Even all that testosterone, aggression, adrenaline that you have within you. Those are all incredible gifts. Instead, you're conditioned to be empathetic, to be less toxic. Your very nature as a man is labeled toxic. Toxic masculinity. So you come up hearing things such as sexism, toxic masculinity, chauvinism, and all these silly buzzwords. And all of those are expected and designed explicitly to cut off your wings. So it becomes hard. You don't know what a man looks like. Sometimes when you even hear men speak, you call them offensive and aggressive and toxic, because you have been conditioned to think like a woman. Your pathway is a difficult one, and I'm giving an overview of some of the things that I will discuss in the coming sessions, but let me make it very clear. I expect very high expectations of men and from men. Those expectations always are placed in a way that comes from a place of love, but also comes from a place of an awareness of your potential and a refusal to trivialize how important you are simply because I'm trying to make you feel good or I'm trying to make you feel important. If I ever have to choose between your affirmation and your validation and calling out the greatness within you, I will always choose the greatness, even if that makes me a foe. And so in the sessions to come, I will talk about certain things. I will give you some tenets, things you can follow on a day-by-day basis to ensure that you stay on the narrow path towards your greatness. But also I will talk about the importance of hard work, responsibility, duty. In many ways, some words that we've never heard of late, such as grit, sacrifice, tenacity, delayed gratification, extreme dedication, obsession towards a gift, a talent, a craft. I'm going to talk about all of those issues and those topics. The idea is to perhaps educate you, inspire you, inform you, annoy you, motivate you perhaps, into thinking about the life that you could lead and how you want to be remembered, choosing a calling, an assignment, a task, a purpose, choosing a mission, something greater than yourself, and staying focused on that mission until you achieve a level of success that ensures that the people around you benefit from the value you've created. In other words, I will be talking about how you can become useful to your community and your group, your family, and your nation. This will require, in my opinion, a return back to the basics. It would require study, raising your awareness, developing understanding, acquiring wisdom, applying the wisdom you've gained, rigorously, failing, course correcting, failing again, course correcting, improving, starting to develop new ways of doing things, and hopefully success. But the key word in all of the process is mastery. The idea of achieving something, the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, which in this particular instance is you, giving you an idea or trying to help you develop an idea that you can fall in love with. Now, as a man, we have a call that we often it might seem harsh, but in the long run, it's a worthy call to adventure. Now, in closing, let me leave you with a few things to take into account. Now, I started the sessions talking about success in relationships and how you and I can improve our relationships. You will find that between 18 and 35, my recommendation is only about 5% of your time should be dedicated to relationships. I will show you how, by playing the long game and by investing 95% of your time in yourself, you actually benefit in the relational game on a long-term basis. You are going to have to give up something of a lower nature to achieve something of a higher nature. Now, between 18 and 30, women, in my opinion, are distractions. 18 to 30 for a man, those are your prime years. Women are simply distractions. Any idea that takes you away from your path, your purpose, your dream, your goal, success, fulfillment, wealth, is a distraction. Now, recognize I'm not saying women are not good. I'm just saying that whatever avatar they present themselves in, they are distractions. If you invest more than 5% of your time, and particularly anything that stops, or you might say distracts you from the purpose upon which you have a calling for. Men are distractions also. Let me make that clear. Any man, any person, any friend, any peer group, any pursuit, hobby, interest that takes you away from becoming the most capable version of yourself, the most adequate version of yourself, is a distraction. We'll call them for what they are. But in any case, I will show you how you can stay focused and not lose out on the interaction that is necessary. Now remember, success is something that you have to study. And therefore, with regards to relationships, you have to study relationships in order for you to have success. So you're going to have to learn and study women to understand who they are, what they want, how they think, what makes them tick. And therefore, you get yourself prepared for the years between 30 and 35, which is when you can start making that transition into relationships. You have to study women to understand them. But more importantly, you cannot let your relational muscles go unused for 18 years. Otherwise, they atrophy, they die off. This is where you start to find young men who have no relational skills, who are very awkward socially, perhaps don't know how to converse, communicate, dialogue, debate, disagree, negotiate, and therefore relationships are difficult for them. They become experts in short-term relationships and not long-term partnerships and situations with people they care and love. So we'll talk about all of these issues. You're going to have to, like I said, study. In many ways, I feel sorry for a lot of young men in the West for a simple reason. If I go back in my time, in order to have acquired some knowledge, you had to read. I remember going to the libraries, getting a library card, registering for a library card, being excited and enthused when I found myself in the library, finding books that I couldn't buy myself, or even ordering books through the librarian because I was seeking for knowledge. It wasn't unusual to read so many books in a year. Today, the platforms are different. People learn differently. We tend to listen to podcasts, video or audio, and therefore we're not really grasping the essence of what it means to pick up a book and pursue the knowledge you need to make your life successful. So we're learning things in bite sizes. You listen to someone for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and suddenly you think you understand the bigger picture. Well, you may have just read one page in a 200-page book. Now, one of the very, very important points in my life was picking up a book, reading a book and realizing that in 4 hours, the author of the book had actually painted in pictures, but illustrated in words, his experience of certain things in life. And it had taken him 40 years to acquire said wisdom. But in 4 hours, I had the formula. Wow, what an experience. The idea that I did not have to make the same mistakes that he made or that she made. The idea that I did not have to go through life by trial and error, that I could live vicariously through their lives, extract the gems of wisdom, the knowledge, the application, and combine it and tailor it in a specific way to my tastes. That was wonderful. Podcasts and audio recordings and all of that are very useful. They have their place. What you cannot do is lose the discipline of pursuit, because what makes you a man? Provision, protection, and the priestly duties. Now, professing your love is necessary, but the priestly duties is what separates men from other men. The ability to speak and inspire, the ability to plant a seed in the hearts of your wife or your partner or your kids, so much so that that seed grows into 4, 5, 6 generations. It comes from your ability to communicate. And all of that comes not so easily, but it requires work. So, in closing, and I look forward to the next sessions, let me wish you well, but also let me call you to an adventure. This will be hard work. You will have to work. I will speak very frankly to men, and in some cases it might seem that I'm being very, very unfair towards men. I will leave you with something. The words of a wise woman, in which she said, I know God will never give me a burden too heavy for me to carry, but sometimes I wish He didn't trust me this greatly. I'm going to put a burden on your shoulders, but I trust you, and I believe you have the shoulders to carry such burden. I wish you well.